Yale has been operating as a strong voice for this community's young people for over 7 years. During that time, they have hosted 3 municipal and 1 provincial all-candidate forums, which have been highly anticipated and extremely well attended, and tonight is obviously a continuation of that trend. The format for this evening's candidate presentation will mirror that used in the past, in that the youth leaders will introduce each of the candidates with biographies. This will be followed by questions that have been pre-submitted. There have been boxes all around this community for a number of weeks in which people were free to deposit questions. The questions will be drawn from that box to ask each of the candidates. I'll say a bit more about how that will unfold after the candidates are introduced. The way this will work at this point is that one of the youth leaders will introduce a candidate. They've spent time researching and preparing some information about each of the candidates. I will ask the candidate who's being introduced to stand during the introduction, after which they can be seated. We have a limited amount of time this evening, so in terms of applause, if you could hold your applause for the candidates until the end, that would be appreciated. If you're interested in how the candidates are placed on the platform tonight, it's reverse alphabetical order, and that is the way they will be introduced. There will be a sort of random selection at the end of the evening for closing statements. So at this point, I'd like to call on Stephen Burness to introduce our first candidate. Stephen has been a Yale member for 2 years and has learned many valuable skills. He's a grade 10 student at Chestermere High School. He loves sports and games of all kinds and has played many of them competitively. His favorite things to do in his spare time is to play road hockey and hang out with friends. He's recently become interested in politics and is thinking of someday becoming a politician. Steve.
We'll talk about it.
Thank you for that warm introduction. I am the liaison for Ms. Coral Bliss-Taylor of the Green Party. Coral has a broad background. She has a master's in engineering and has worked in urban planning, citizen engagement, and web development. She is currently working as an entrepreneur as well as training horses in Balzac. However, Coral's involvement in Rocky View and area goes beyond horse training and has also included community planning, including an in-depth study of local energy use. She has often facilitated community engagement both in Rocky View and elsewhere. Finally, as part of a team, she was involved in developing web technology to engage citizens online in order to facilitate communication between citizens and decision makers and to make a government more accountable. Coral is running in the election in order to bring a green voice to the political conversation. Her top priority in is Alberta's sustainable future, including the diversification of the Alberta economy and the addition of jobs that are not tied to the oil industry. Ms. Coral Bliss-Taylor.
Thank you, Stephen. Our next candidate will be introduced by Emily Young. Emily is a 14-year-old grade 9 student at Chestermere Lake Middle School. She loves books and music. Her favorite movies include Harry Potter, Doctor Who, and Les Miserables. Emily loves acting, volunteering, and spending time with her family. She's blessed with 7 brothers and sisters. In the future, Emily would like to pursue a career in social work or psychology, and she's passionate about being a social activist.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. William Pellick. William Pellick moved to Northern Alberta in 1983. While in the North, he developed a comprehensive social services program with the Dene Ta First Nation and coordinated an Indigenous social work diploma program. Near the end of his doctoral studies, he enjoyed the Faculty of Social Work at the University of Calgary. where he has enjoyed a distinguished career as a social work educator, researcher, and administrator. He has worked tirelessly to bring social work education to students across Alberta. He created the Virtual Learning Circle, which delivers accredited social work education online to students in rural communities. He was awarded the prestigious Killam Prize for Innovation in Education in 2012. He currently serves as an Associated Dean Academic in the Faculty of Social Work. William has continued to make community service contributions as president of Calgary's first spiritualist church and scholar in residence with Calgary Counseling Centre. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. William Pellick.
Go ahead and clap for the candidates. It's a little artificial to ask you not to, I think, at any rate. So it's our next candidate will be introduced by Shia Mangat. Shia is a grade 10 student at Chestermere High School. At 15 years of age, she dreams of going on to post-secondary studies to become a psychologist or social worker. She enjoys reading, being an active community member, and volunteering. She's been an active member of YEL for over 3 years. It's one of her favorite extracurricular activities. Shia?
It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Bruce McAllister. Bruce McAllister is a common-sense conservative. As the son of a cow-calf operator, he knows the value of hard work. As a husband and father, he puts family first. As a member of the community, he likes to get involved. From polar bear dips to raise money for youth, to looping the lake for the library, to Memorial Run at Springbok Fall Fair, and to spending Canada Day in Redwood Meadows, Bruce has been involved in the communities that make up Chestermere Rocky View. As our current representative in Edmonton, he's focused on results. Getting things done for Chestermere Rocky View, like a registry for Chestermere and the barrier on the Trans-Canada west of Calgary. If re-elected, Bruce will work even harder within government to get things done for Chestermere Rocky View and all Albertans. Mr. Bruce McAllister.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next candidate will be introduced by Paige Skripnik. At 16, Paige believes that the busier you are, the more fun you have. She loves to spend her time juggling the theatre, school, YEL, her job, rugby, friends, and family. She loves to get her hands into any activity she can find. As a grade 10 student at Chestermere High School, Paige loves to get involved in the community. Even though she lives in Langdon, Paige tries her hardest to contribute to both the Chestermere and Langdon communities. There's nothing more important to it.
It is my pleasure to introduce Jamie Law, one of the independent candidates. Jamie was raised on an acreage in Rocky View County, having attended both middle school and high school in Chestermere. Upon graduating high school, he furthered his studies at the University of Calgary, majoring in political science and sociology. After completing his university studies, he worked primarily in the nonprofit sector, providing services to individuals with disabilities and/or mental health diagnoses in the Calgary area. In 2012, he co-founded Calgary Housing and Employment Services, a nonprofit employment-based initiative working hands-on with individuals facing homelessness. Under his leadership as CEO, the organization has steadily grown and continues to serve those among us who need it the most. Jamie has never been one to shy away from a challenge, and he pledges fully to the residents of this constituency that they will be equally represented and equally consulted with on matters that affect them the most. Jamie Law.
Thanks. The next candidate will be introduced by Sahaj Mangat. He is a grade 8 student attending East Lake School. He's fond of volunteering and helping in the community. He likes sports and mixed martial arts. He's a car enthusiast. While he loves many high-performance vehicles, if he had to choose one, he would say the Lamborghini 6 Elementor. His future plans include becoming an MMA fighter and/or real estate agent, and I'll have to call on him if people aren't respecting the time limits tonight.
Matt Grant from the Independent Party. Matt was raised on an acreage just north of Chestermere, and he is a part of the third generation of his family to live in the area. His formative years were influenced by the people and communities that make up Chestermere and Rocky View. From the Conridge Elementary through Chestermere High School, Chestermere Minor Hockey, and the Chestermere 4-H Club, his early lessons were learned in the schools, hockey rinks, and community centers of the constituency. Matt completed a computer engineering technology diploma at SAIT and a bachelor's of management degree through the University of Lethbridge as a working student. He has spent the bulk of his career in the transportation industry and is currently an IT project manager for one of the largest bulk carriers in North America. Matt and his wife Bonnie are the proud parents of their infant son, Griffin. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Grant.
Thank you. I'll call upon Sean Fisk to introduce our final candidate for this evening. Sean is a grade 11 student at Lord Beaverbrook High School. At 16, he plans to go to SAIT or the University of Calgary after high school for creative writing and journalism. He enjoys karate and theater and spends some of his time volunteering. He plays in the band at his school on the alto saxophone for concert and jazz band. He loves helping people and does all he can to make people happy. He's there for people if they need help or someone to talk to. He enjoys politics and is helping out today because he thought it would be a great experience. Sean.
Hello, it is my great pleasure to introduce Miss Leela Ahir of the Wild Rose Party. The Rocky View region has been home since 1979. Leela and her husband have been together for 25 years. She proudly advocates on behalf of her special needs son and actively guides her older son at the Victoria Conservatory of Music. Leela has held many executive roles, including ownership of Chestermere Auto Wash. Being a business owner has ingrained the principles of financial responsibility in the core of the Wild Rose Party. Leela is a founder and owner of the Chestermere Community Health Center. Additionally, she runs the Ahir Studio of Performance in Chestermere, employing several music teachers. She is best known for her volunteerism, working with more than 50 charity events per year. Leela was a key participant in the original campaign team that brought the first elected Wild Rose MLA to Chestermere Rocky View. She holds a bachelor degree from the University of Manitoba in music and has 3 years of political science. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Leela Ahir.
Thank you to all the students for introducing the candidates. Just say a little about the way the evening will unfold from this point forward. First of all, when you came in tonight, you should have been given one of these pieces of information. You'll note that there is a website address on there. This evening's events are being recorded, and they will be uploaded to that website tonight or at the latest tomorrow morning. So if you've missed a bit of an answer, don't panic. Just go online and find it later. The way all candidates form will proceed is through a series of questions that are posed to each candidate. Each candidate will have a general question to which they have 60 seconds to reply. That will be followed by a question that will be given to only one of the candidates at a time. The timekeepers to my right will be holding up a yellow card as a 30-second warning to the candidates that their time is nearing completion, followed by a red card when time is up, which means it's time to stop talking and let the next person speak. The candidates, I'm sure, will strictly adhere to these time limits. The questions that are asked and they respond to verbally will be followed by a series of questions that are posed to all of the candidates at the same time. And they will be answered essentially yes or no by holding up a little, there, Mr. Lal has one of those there, green for yes and red for no. The questions to be put to the candidates have been pre-submitted by members of the community, and they will be drawn by one of the students as they come up to present the candidates. The order in which the questions will be answered will vary by question. And if the student who introduced the speaker will read the question, the person who was introduced by that speaker will respond first, and then we'll proceed from left to right, and then, of course, going back to the beginning when we reach that point. So for the first question, Ms. Taylor will speak first, and then we will go in that order. You will have the individual question addressed to you at the end of that, and then there will be the yes/no questions. In addition to the yes/no questions, there are a couple of multiple candidate questions that will be interspersed, one to the 2 independents and one to the 4 party candidates. With that, I'll call on Stephen to draw the first question.
The first question is, what experience do you have in healthcare, education, and/or social work, and how would that experience be an asset if you were elected MLA?
Thank you, Stephen. And first of all, hello, everyone. So my experience in social work and healthcare education has mainly been through my volunteerism. I've helped wounded Afghan war vets, and I've also been involved in helping the mentally ill. And I think that the best way that that helps me, if I'm elected, is that it gives me a window to all different kinds of lives and all different kinds of experiences. It has made me a much more compassionate person knowing these people, and it has shown me what kind of strength there really is out there, and what kind of people, what a broad range of people we have in our society, and what kinds of different people we need to be thinking of when we are making policy. So, thank you.
Well, good evening, and it's great to see so many people out tonight. My experience in social work and education, as mentioned, I came to this province in 1983. I came to this province in part because of the visionary leadership by who I believe is and was the greatest political leader in this province and this country has ever seen, Peter Lougheed. At that time, I started as a social worker up north, working with First Nations communities for about 10 years, then moved on to do my master's degree and doctoral degree out east. I came back to Alberta in 1999, where I have been teaching social work across the province ever since. So I've been to I've taught social work in 10 different small rural communities across the province. I have worked with many people who have been beaten and broken, and we have found ways to support them. I decided to move into education because I felt I could help others learn how to do that. And by that,
I guess we better be quick on wrapping it up. Great to see you all here tonight, and to Yell, just a fantastic job of coordinating this evening. In 60 seconds, look, we had all better have a heart for public service and social services and helping the vulnerable. I know my wife and I and family spend countless hours at countless charities around this community and many more trying to give back. I think you get more back when you take that time. I've been fortunate to be the education critic for the last 3 years in the province of Alberta, and I spent a lot of time on that file. I know it well. I spend countless hours meeting with Bev Lepere, our superintendent, our trustees in this region, advocating for our kids. I think it's important that we do that. And as we see a downturn in the economy, we continue to build schools and take care of them. On the healthcare front, clearly as an MLA, I've seen a lot in the last little while. I'm advocating and pushing for efficiencies in that system, and I'm seeing them. And I never want to forget that we have great people in.
Thank you very much again for everybody attending and the Yell organization for setting up such a great event. Great to see a great turnout. My experience with social work, education, and healthcare, those three things wrap right into what I do on a day-to-day basis. So with my nonprofit organization, even though I am the CEO, I do like to be very hands-on. Individuals, whether it's people that we've intaking or people on the back end of our program, the services that we offer to them, we always say, look, I'm not going to teach you anything, or I'm not going to tell you to empower yourself. I'm going to allow for you to find the tools and the mechanisms to, again, make yourself a better person. Sorry, we're stumbling a bit because I saw the thing, so I know I'm going to get it cut off pretty quickly here. But no, again, this is something that I've been doing for the last 5 years and over and above that. So that's my experience. I'm the only one that made the time. Nice.
I'd just like to say thanks to Yell again for putting this on. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces out there in the crowd tonight. I don't have any direct experience as a nurse or an educator or anything like that. I do have close family and friends that are involved on the front lines of those professions, however. And it's from those people that you learn of the things that they're going through, the hardships they're going through, and that would be the experience that I would bring to the front here. I don't pretend to have all the answers for these issues, but I would be the guy going and looking for answers and seeking expert opinion from the people actually working in the field, rather than coming up with it in the back room of a political party policy think tank. Thank you.
Good evening to candidates, the Yell organization, and to Chestermere Rocky View. I'm an educator, and I'm also an advocate on behalf of special needs, and I've also had the great pleasure of helping to bring healthcare to Chestermere. It's very close to my heart. Volunteerism is truly the way into finding out what a community needs, and when you get down and dirty with all of the people, understanding what those needs are, we get huge results, and we understand what our constituents need. If we're not out with the people, we have no clue. We do not have the hearts of the people, and we can't take that forward into the political realm in order to bring the needs necessary forward for our constituents. I'm a firm believer in making sure that we're listening, and when you're out in the community, it's the best place to listen. I'm very, very grateful to see very many people that I know here and that I've been able to contribute positively to either the education of those people or to be able to bring healthcare to our
The first individual question will be asked of Coral Bliss Taylor. What is the Green Party's plan to restore the economy?
Thank you for the question, Stephen. This is a really important one. So the first thing that I would point out is that we keep hearing that we are in difficult times now. I would suggest that because we have known for a while that our economy is very closely tied to the oil and gas industry, and that that industry is set by a market price that is global, it shouldn't have been a big surprise that there are booms and busts associated. So for us, one of the most important things that we can do to deal with that is to diversify our economy. If we bring in different kinds of industries, then we can have a more stable base, more stable economy, more stability in the jobs, and more stability in public finance. And for the Greens, that includes things like capitalizing on our energy experience to grow in our solar and wind energies. This is one of the best areas in the country for that kind of energy. And so we'd like to explore that, as well as agriculture, tech industries, tourism. There are so many.
The next individual question will be for Coral Bliss Taylor. How do you feel about factory farming and its effect on the environment?
I'm sorry, Stephen, I should have looked at it first.
Oh, not
She can't have two in a row, so
Okay.
pick another one.
All right, you're off the hook.
Sorry about it. My bad.
Okay, this one's not for her, so that's good. This one is for Matt Grant. With the return of diseases once on the brink of eradication, how can Alberta increase the vaccination rate?
Well, I think it's really simple, actually. We have to get stricter in implementing more mandatory immunizations. When I was in school, I routinely went to the library to get inoculations for a lot of diseases like tetanus and whatnot. And a lot of that stuff's under control, right? We've ceded some of that control back to parents, and I understand that, right? But the science is there, right? Inoculations and other immunizations makes us a healthier community, and we need to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. My apologies to the candidates. I should have given them advance warning about the ruthless nature of the mics tonight to try and stay on schedule. So I guess they're not cutting me off, though, so I can ramble a bit. Just to let you know, too, that the students and I have not seen the questions before this evening. So we'll now turn to the sort of rapid-fire yes and no round. So if I could ask the candidates to get their paddles ready and to hold them up for about 3 seconds so we can make sure we get the yes-no recorded. Green is yes, red is no. So the first question. Albertans have been told about the Springbank Dam and land purchase costs totaling $465.4 million, but additional costs including moving Springbank Road, raising and rebuilding Highway 22, building a bridge and high safety fence, silt and debris removal, insurance, etc., is estimated to cost over $1 billion. Do you believe the cost of this project is justified? Thank you. This is a two-part question for those who said no to that. And for those who said no, if I could get you to stand briefly so we remember who it was. Would you support the more affordable McLean Creek Dam as an option? Great, thanks very much. The second question topic area is on taxes. Like I say, the questions have been submitted and drawn, and the wording has not been dealt with by the committee here at all. The question on taxes is, do you support the present government's plan to make the largest combined tax increase in Alberta history? Thank you. I anticipated that level of response there. The second question is sort of a follow-up, and that is, do you support raising taxes at all? Yes or no? Do you support raising taxes at all? Great. Thank you very much. The third question. Midwife-assisted births cost far less than physician-assisted births. Many women would prefer to use the lower-cost service, but are unable to, as the limited number of midwives who are funded are always fully booked. New graduates coming out of Mount Royal University this year will not be able to work in Alberta unless further funding is provided. The question is, are you in favor of increased funding for midwifery care in Alberta? Yes or no? Thank you very much. The final individual question in this set. Several jurisdictions in Canada have either enacted dog breed specific legislation or are proposing enacting legislation that specifically names certain breeds as restricted or prohibited. The question is, do you agree with breed specific legislation? Yes or no? Thank you very much. We'll now turn to the second series of questions. Emily will be asking the question, and this time the New Democratic candidate will be the first to respond, and we'll work our way down and back after that. Emily.
Past behavior is indicative of future behavior. Please highlight some of your Chestermere Rocky View contributions over the past 5 years to demonstrate the type of community spirit you possess.
Well, in terms of it's a variety of things to point out. First of all, as an educator, I have been educating students who have come from Chestermere Rocky View for quite some time at the University of Calgary. And so not only students who have come to us directly to the University of Calgary, but also students who have joined us online. So that's first contribution. I've also canvassed for a variety of charitable organizations, the Heart and Stroke Fund, for diabetes as well in my own area. It's been a challenge trying to be a full-time professor, a single parent, and also a volunteer, but I've done the best I can. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. It is a great question. At the same time, it's I don't think any of us that give our time to the community would want to spend time telling people how much we do. It's not why we do it. But given this format tonight, I'll tell you that I take great pride in being an active member of this community, and I have for a long time. We've volunteered here ever since we moved here in just about every event you can think of. We tithe at a couple local churches and attend them. My wife operates a business here. We shop here. We get involved here. I've been able to push for things in this community. I'm proud of that. I mentioned the registry earlier that I know is coming. For schools and modulars that I'm happy to work with Rocky View Schools on. If there's a service that we can provide as government, then I see it as my job as your elected official to make sure that it's being provided, and we're doing that. So I spend a lot of time out in the community. And when I have some spare time, which is rare, I'm usually in one of these rinks watching kids play hockey.
For myself, I was actually raised in this community, so I do try to be as involved as possible. Up until a few weeks ago, I was a member of a local political association, but I guess I'm not part of that anymore. I do try to give back as much as I possibly can. But like Dr. Pellick, because I am the CEO of a nonprofit, it takes up a lot of my time. I try to participate as much as I can. Now that I'm not part of that political association. If anybody's looking, you might have a volunteer. That was a joke. No? Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
The last 5 years is the issue with me on that question. My wife and I have been working students for a long time. We've been getting our life established. We've been starting our family. And up until a couple years ago, we were living downtown. So I haven't had the chance or the time to get involved in a lot of charitable works in the community in the past 5 years. But growing up here with 4-H, it was routinely that every year we would go out and do the highway cleanup program. I've been up and down these highways my entire life, picking up the trash, keeping the community cleaner. And I think I'm a better person for that. And I thank the community for allowing 4-H to do that. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Volunteerism is the heart of a community. I think I'd mentioned that before. I am completely in love and dedicated to our community. I've been out here since 1979, and my volunteerism goes back as far as I can remember, including helping to build this rec center. And I used to volunteer right over there in order to get my hours so that I could use this facility. But volunteerism is actually about passing it forward as well, too. So we encourage all youth and adults to get involved and get volunteering into their communities. Because again, That's how communities come together, and that's how they're built. Thank you.
So my involvement with Chestermere Rockview has actually been primarily through my work. I've been an urban planner in the area, and so that has meant that I've done everything from small subdivisions to helping people realize their vision and their dream for their land by building a comprehensive plan. I've also done a comprehensive energy study, so I have a really solid idea of the kinds of opportunities that are available to us here. I'm also in farming, so I'm active with the farm up in Balzac, as well as with the Paint Horse and Quarter Horse associations. And as for the rest of it, volunteerism has always been near and dear to my heart through the university while I've been there, and now that I'm out of there, through being here up on this platform as part of your candidates. Thanks.
My individual question is to William Pellick. More than 69% of Albertans believe that it is time to stop giving handouts to for-profit corporations. What is your alternate to realization in the job market? Sorry, I'm nervous.
You're doing great, don't worry.
More than 69% of Albertans believe that it is time to stop giving handouts to for-profit corporations. What is your alternative to revitalization the job market? Thank you.
I think to be clear, 69% of Albertans have indicated that they would support higher taxes as well for corporations and individuals. What we would do is a number of things. First of all, a job creation tax credit to promote jobs. We would restore the summer temporary employment program for Alberta youth. We would also, as was mentioned by Coral, diversify the economy, invest in things like alternate energy, high-tech, film and video, brewing, tourism, value-added agriculture, food processing. For far too long, we have been exporting jobs out of this province. It's time to create those value-added jobs here to benefit our youth and future generations. Thank you.
So this is the first multiple candidate question, and it's for Bruce McAllister, Leila Ahir, Coral Bliss-Taylor, and William Pleach. How long have you been a member of your political party? And you only have 30 seconds each.
I wonder where that question came from. I've been a common sense conservative since the day I came out of the womb, and I will always fight for common conservative principles in the great province of Alberta. Thank you.
So I have been a member of the Green Party for about 5 weeks, very long time. I've always been a very political person. I've always believed in giving back, and politically, I've always been quite moderate. And for me, the Green Party gave me the best avenue to do that. Greens put
Hello. I have been member of the Wild Rose Party since 2010. Thank you very much.
I have been a supporter of the NDP since I was 17 years of age. I have been a member of the NDP for at least 10 years here in Alberta. I strongly believe in everything that Rachel Notley has said, for I believe that's closer to the vision that I came to this province for, that Peter Lougheed was espousing in 1983. So that's why I'm an NDP member and have been for all my life. Thank you.
Sorry for the candidates, but the question was, how long have you been a part of the Progressive Party? Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I'll just help you with that, Ray. Sorry, Mr. McAllister, Ray would like to give you another 30 seconds to answer the question, because the question was actually, how long have you been a member of the party that you were running for? Okay, thanks, Ray. That's okay.
Well, I appreciate you calling me back, Patty. Thank you. Many of you will know that I was in the field of journalism for a long time, and it's pretty common amongst journalists not to be members of political parties. So therefore, I don't carry a card, even federally, although I'm a giant federal conservative. So I've been a member of the PC party for the last few months provincially, but clearly I've been a conservative for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you all for that. And just a reminder, there'll be a question directed to the two independents a bit later. So, and the party candidates will not be invited to answer that one. So if there's an opportunity for everyone. Just again, a reminder that we're seeing the questions for the first time here ourselves. So we appreciate your understanding. I also neglected to introduce Patricia Sproul from Synergy, who's devoted a lot of time to organizing the events for tonight and to working with the students, and who is holding up the box from which the questions are drawn. So thank you for that. So we'll move to the third set of questions, and I'll call upon Shia to direct the question, and Mr. McAllister will be the first respondent to this question.
As there is no Liberal candidate nominated in the Chestermere Rocky View riding, those of us who support the party are faced with a dilemma. Is there anything about your philosophy that you think Liberal voters might identify with?
That is an interesting question. I'm actually disappointed, Shia, that there's not a Liberal candidate. I wish that we had one from every party here. I would say this. I'm with a party, obviously, that believes in a balanced path forward. And I hope that people will, from all partisan stripes, recognize that and see that, we are at a difficult time in Alberta. And in my view, we have to be balanced and measured in our way out of it. And I suppose if you're a Liberal thinker or a Conservative thinker or a nonpartisan thinker, you're able to look at the platforms of the parties and see which one resonates with you and which one is best. I like to think that using a savings account, increasing revenue and reducing government spending, particularly wasteful spending, is a good balance. And I hope that would appeal to people of all parties. So Shia, thank you for that question.
I wonder what that question was all about. Let's see. How would I, as an independent candidate, I'm not budging on where I stand. Look, I am a fiscal conservative, of course, but I've always been very socially responsible. I think it's very, very, very important to invest in education, healthcare, and of course, look out for those of us in the room or Albertans at large who need it most. The beauty of being an independent is that I'm not tied to any party. So whether a nomination happened or not, if elected, I'm an independent, and I'm going to sit as an independent. And for my Liberal friends here in the room today, like I said, all you have to do is look at some of the work that I've done over the last 5, even 10 years, by the age of 30, being able to run a successful nonprofit. I mean, I am the type of individual, it's not about the bottom line for me, it's about making sure that everybody is looked out for. Thank you.
So I think I'm the only truly fiscally conservative person up here because I'm the only one that hasn't asked for your money. As regards to a Liberal candidate, there isn't one here, but I believe in actual balanced fiscal policy, unlike the PC party who just want to tax us to the tune of 58 different fee and tax increases. My balanced fiscal policy is that all three entities of Alberta, the public sector, the taxpayers, and corporations help weather us through this storm. It's going to be a rough couple of years no matter what way you cut it in this province, and only through that shared burden will all of us make it through with a lessened load. the NDP, the Wild Rose, and the PC Party all pick one side of these entities instead of all working together and getting through it as one. Thank you.
I also believe in fiscal responsibility. I also believe in not raising your taxes. I'm certain that the Wild Rose Party will be able to convince Liberal or other parties to come around to our way of thinking, as this will benefit Albertans. Thank you so much.
As I mentioned before, I am politically moderate, so that tends to agree with many Liberals who view themselves often as centrist. Liberals have also more specifically said that they support lower or no taxes for small businesses, and that is something that I am in support of as well, especially as a small business owner. And finally, that's it. Thank you.
As an educator, I believe in the importance of education. In Chestermere Rockview, the result of the PC cuts mean $400,000 less at Chestermere High. That means that there'll be 65 new students here or more, and a shortage of 6 teachers next fall. As an educator, I believe it's time to invest in education and reset our priorities. I would think David Swan would say the same thing. And it's time for us to realize what's important here in Alberta, our youth and our education. Thank you.
This one is for Leela. Being a female in politics can be challenging, but being a female in politics with a family can be a disaster. How would you manage to take care of your family and your constituents if you were elected MLA?
Well, thank goodness we're asking a woman that question. As for women, right? Yeah. Thank you. For any woman and any man who loves a woman, they know how well and how good multitaskers we are. We are able to have about 10 different things going on at the same time and manage it all. And that is the truth, and that's how I'm going to function. Fortunately for me, I have an 18 and a 16-year-old, and I have an incredible husband who, with his backing, is the reason why I'm standing up here. It takes family, it takes community, and it takes encouragement to do all of these things. So congratulations to all of us, both women and men, and let's come together as a party and let's solve these problems together, regardless of our gender. Thank you.
This one is for Jamie Lal. You were disallowed to participate in the nomination for Progressive Conservative candidacy for this election. Please tell us why that happened or why you think it did.
Thank you for the question. Full disclosure, Jim Prentice and I are the best of friends, but please don't hold that against me. See, you got the joke. No. Look, I know that this has been, in the newspapers and the media over the last little while. I was a member of that party for a very, very long time. I ran in 2012, carried the banner in the inner city. If you want my personal opinion on it, I think when the party needed me to run, they supported me. And when I needed them, I didn't get that support back. So, all the information is out there. I'm sure a lot of you are going to have some questions during the question period at the end. But that's the best I can do right now. Because truthfully, it's a bit clouded for me as well. You guys found out the reason the same way I did, which was in the newspaper. So that's my answer to that.
Thank you for that. Mr. Lal made reference to the opportunity for questioning at the end of the evening. The candidates all have tables around the room, and they've all agreed to remain in the hall to meet with people who might have individual questions at the close of the formal part of this evening's procedures. Now we're back to the, I guess, what I call the rapid fire round of yes, no questions. I'd ask the candidates to hold the red or green clearly to the front so everybody in the audience can see what their answer is. Again, I have a set of different questions. My first question is on childcare, and the question is, would you support an Alberta childcare strategy similar to that used in the province of Quebec? Yes or no? So I have 3 no's and 3 yeses. Thank you. I have a series of questions relating to business experience. The first question, have you ever run a business that required a business permit in Chestermere, Rocky View? Yes or no? Thank you. Second business question, do you run more than one business in southern Alberta? Yes or no? Thank you. And the third business question, have you ever been responsible for a business budget of more than $2 million annually? Yes or no? Thank you. A couple of questions relating to volunteer service. When you volunteer at an event, do you believe in getting your hands dirty? That is, help with dishes, put away tables and chairs, general cleanup, etc. Yes or no? Great, we're going to have lots of assistants tonight at the end of the evening, I see. Now, this is a question in which I've been told to ask the candidates to just give an answer, an oral answer, not the yes or no, about how often per year do you volunteer your services? Just give a rough number for that. How often do you volunteer your services? So maybe we'll move from left to right.
Whenever I'm asked.
Go ahead.
I volunteer at my church 3 times a week, so 150 times a year.
Honestly, I'd have a tough time giving you a number too. It's got to be 100 or more. Mine's more than this guy for sure.
Okay. All right. And the final question in this section, and we're back to the yes or no paddles, is do you believe that an effective opposition is required to ensure good government? Yes or no? Yes. Thank you very much. We'll now turn to the fourth set of questions. Paige will be asking these. The question will be, the order in which these questions will go will involve Mr. Law being the first respondent.
In which municipalities have you principally resided over the past 12 months? If not Chestermere or Rocky View County, how do you think you could represent us adequately?
Thank you, Paige, for the question. I actually was raised on an acreage just east of Chestermere. So technically, we are Rocky View County. I've lived there more or less my entire life. Family's here as well. So, I'm a Rocky View kid, even though I attended Chestermere Middle School and Chestermere High School. How am I best equipped to serve all of you? Again, sometimes we get a bad rep for being a commuter town. I don't see us that way. I think we have an identity. It's very unique. It's very diverse. And I'd like to think that individuals like myself, Matt, Leela included, we really are a snapshot of that identity. So you guys should be proud. So I've lived here forever, and this is probably where I'm going to die someday in a whole bunch of long time, years and years. But with the week I've had, it might happen a little sooner, so.
So I don't live in Chestermere anymore. I'm over south of Old Banff Coach Road on the other side of the constituency here. But my family is here, my friends are here. My grandma lives across from the high school on the highway there. I just moved my mom into her condo down by the lake there. You know, my brother and his wife just had a kid. I just had a kid. They're 3 weeks apart. You know, we're going to be here constantly co-babysitting, or, you know, it's code word for dumping the kid off and going to a movie or something like that. But, you know,
I've lived here since 1979. I graduated from the high school out here, and my son will graduate next year. And I lived on the acreages in Lake Erie Estates and worked this entire area, everything from beet bashing to hay baling to calving to babysitting. I mean, I could walk down East Chestermere Drive and pretty much name everybody along there. Plus, I volunteered here and various other things. So I've been here for a very long time, and as we've been going through the process of door knocking and all that fun stuff, I've reconnected with people who recognize me from when I was a kid and other families who've moved out here. So yes, I've been out here for 35 years. Thank you.
For the last 12 months, I have been living in Calgary, especially as I was finishing my degree at the university. But as you heard, for many years prior to that, I was working in this area, and I continue to work on a farm in Balzac. So I do know the area quite well. And the way that I am able to represent you is through public consultation. My background is in public consultation, and that means I don't just have to assume, based on having been near you, what you think. I can ask. So I can ask you what you think of each issue that comes up. I can ask you what issues you think should be coming up, and I can set in place a system in which I can then respond back to you in a very short feedback loop what I've been doing about that. So essentially, asking you how best to represent you is, I feel, always the best way to go about it.
I've lived in the county since 2003. I currently live not too far from where Matt is, actually. And I have researched and taught social policy across the province for many years. I'm familiar with those issues. And as a counselor, I'm also a good listener. So those are the two things I can bring to this: the ability to listen and a knowledge about policy and its impact on those who are disadvantaged and marginalized in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. My wife and I and children have lived in Chestermere on Cove Road for 12 years. And we're very proud to say we're in the same home that we moved into in 2004 when we moved back to Alberta. But we have a very diverse constituency, folks. We really do. And it's an honor to represent it. So you know, it's Chestermere, Langdon, Indus, Delroy, Delmead, Delacour, Catherine, Keoma, Balzac, Bearspaw, Redwood Meadows, Elbow Valley. It is Cochrane Lake, and it is Springbank, and many acreages and farms in between. And whoever is a public servant had better spend a lot of time getting around to those communities and meeting with people in every nook and cranny to act on your behalf. I've done it with great pride, and will continue to, should you have me back. Thank you.
Okay. This is for Bruce McAllister. What is happening with the Balzac meat plant?
That is a great question. Well, we're doing our best to get it open, I can tell you that. I see Councillor Rolly Ash down here with Rocky View County. Rolly, good to see you. I know the county is working very hard to work through a couple of issues to get that plant open. I can tell you as the son of a cow-calf operator that there is nothing more important to me than the business of agriculture. And there are 325 jobs at stake that we could have people working at all day, every day, and tens of millions of dollars for the local economy, agriculture in this province. So I had the Premier, Mr. Prentice, I had the Agriculture Minister, Mr. Verlin Olson, and the Municipal Affairs Minister, Diana McQueen, and several others tour that plant so they can share my passion with the need to get it open. And we're going to do all we can, working with Rowley in that county at every level of government to get it open so we can get our meat shipped around this world. I'm quite proud of Alberta beef. Thank you.
The second question is for Matt Grant and Jamila. Given that you're not attached to a party, you would only have one vote, and it's unlikely that the majority and the opposition parties would care what you have to say. How do you expect to get anything done or to advocate for our riding? Why should we vote for you when you won't have any real pull for our community? 60 seconds each.
So it's true. In a majority government, you're not going to have a whole lot of sway as an independent. Neither will any of the opposition parties. They'll sit over on the side of the floor, complain to the media like they do about everything. In a minority government, however, if it's close, I see an independent candidate being highly acceptable to the parties when they come to talk to them. An independent doesn't seek to compete like the other political parties. An independent seeks only to collaborate, to get involved, to make this a better province for Alberta and for Chestermere Rocky View. So as an independent, yes, it's one vote, but it's the ability to go to any party and work instead of drawing your party lines and saying, no, I won't do that, or I won't do this. There's lots of mindsets amongst this community, and as such, there's the same in government. And that's how I do it as an independent. Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Matt. You stole my answer word for word, so I'm going to have to think of something different. No, I agree with a lot of the points that Matt said. It seems as though we're headed for a fractured government. Whichever party it is that forms that government, good for them. As an independent, if elected, it's not me who would have the leverage, it would be you, the community. And I have a completely open door policy. So as a community, if you think about it, we could be technically a swing vote. And whether it's, again, a minority or a majority, it's important to keep in mind that people like myself, even though I'm not attached to a party, there are a lot of people that are close personal friends of mine. A lot of MLAs, maybe not the one that's here, but a lot of other ones, all across the board. And I've worked with a lot of those people in the past, and I would continue to do so. But I would make it very clear, regardless, if elected, again, as an independent, I'm not going anywhere. I would sit and stay as an independent. Thank you.
Thank you. We move to the fifth round of questions. And call on Sahaj to direct these questions to all of the candidates. And in this case, the first respondent will be Mr. Grant.
Okay. What community commits volunteer? Okay. What is that word? Oh, agencies and boards have you served on, and how would that experience be an asset if you were elected as our MLA?
So in terms of boards and stuff that I've been on, my wife and I lived downtown for about 7 years while we were going to school and working both downtown. In that time, I served on all the condo boards that we lived in the high-rise towers down there. These are multi-floor units worth over $100 million, hundreds of units in the buildings, and at times it felt like it was a drunken frat house. So a lot of that spills out into the day-to-day capacity of what you handle. You know, you're handling vendor agreements, garbage collection, recycling. That's all the same stuff in a condo as it is out in a community here. And you have to handle residents and policies that don't comply sometimes, and how you do that in a way that's fair to all. So I think that experience directly relates back into this. Thank you.
I have worked with many different boards. I have never actually been on a board, but I've worked with many boards, education boards, advocacy for special needs boards, and volunteered at those levels. However, I do run several businesses, which is kind of the same situation when you're putting those people together in order to coordinate and bring together ideas. For example, our Prime Funds company that brought the healthcare center, the Kenneyburg Healthcare Center, to Chestermere. So I have a broad and diverse background in working with people and making sure that at multi-levels that we're working together to create ideas to come together for our communities. Thank you so much.
It's hard to remember all of the volunteerism that I've done, and I think I'll stick to that instead of just specifically boards. So I've volunteered with the Calgary Zoo. I've served as my Student Society president for 2 years, as well as a representative to the Grad Student Society. I've assisted wounded veterans of the Afghan War. I've assisted the mentally ill as well. I've volunteered with APEGA, the Engineering Association. When I was asked how much I volunteer, it really is whenever I'm asked. If I'm asked to help out, I try to be there as much as I possibly can. Thank you.
Like Coral, I've served on a lot of boards. Currently, I serve on my church board as past president and treasurer. I've served on boards like the Boys and Girls Club and others. I've also served on countless committees and boards and international boards as well over the years. And so I have a lot of experience in that way. I'd like to say I've also volunteered to serve as your candidate for the NDP party. I was asked a couple of weeks before the writ was dropped, and I couldn't say no. So in that respect, I'm also serving as a volunteer here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I can tell you that I grew up a member of 4-H and Interact. For those of you that aren't aware, that's young Rotarians. Members of those boards helped shape who I am today. It's where my heart for community service began, I think. I've always found if you need somebody to help you with something, find a busy person, because busy people usually get busier and contribute more. Even though they'll tell you initially that they don't have time, you can usually make some more time from them. And when I got into journalism, I wasn't a member of any boards or commissions or agencies. I was the guy that everybody called to host their event or help plan it, and I was thrilled to do that. I still work with any charity or anybody that will ask me for help. My wife does sit on the Library Foundation here, the board. And we just give back like everybody else where we can, when we can, like many of you. And thank you for the question.
Thank you again for the question. Again, my time in the nonprofit sector has allowed me to actually work with a lot of different boards in and around the Calgary area. Now, I can only, I guess, really speak to the hands-on work that I've done with the board that I'm the chair of, again, which is Calgary Housing and Employment Services. So, you know, it's given me an opportunity to, again, see how other agencies operate and, again, find ways that we can collaborate with them. I hate to bring this up again, but I was a member of a lot of political level boards that ended a couple weeks ago, but again, not trying to beat a dead horse. You know, when it comes to boards, again, I've got a ton of experience that way. I volunteer. It seems like it's a constant theme throughout tonight. I try to volunteer as much as I can. But again, because of my role with my agency, I might not always have as much time, but that doesn't mean that I don't give back. The work that we do through my nonprofit, it's good work. So, perfect.
Okay, this one is for Bruce McAllister. You worked on an education reform during the tenure as a MLA. How will you continue to make progress on the education file? What would you like to see change?
Well, I'd like to have about 500 more schools tomorrow and about 10,000 more teachers. But unfortunately, we can't do it that quickly. I've taken great pride on this education file, and no matter what side we sit on in that legislature, we have to push to build schools, because slowing down infrastructure, not building schools, is irresponsible, and it doesn't do our communities any good. We live in one of the fastest growing communities, in the fastest growing province in this country, and so we have to make sure we continue with that capital build. I would very much like to protect frontline positions, and we have done that in the budget. For me, we could not eliminate frontline services like teachers, doctors, nurses, so we protected those. I just want to see our kids taken care of. I think they're tremendously well taught. We've brought coherent grading, the basics of literacy and numeracy back into the curriculum. I fought hard for that. So I'll continue to advocate for our kids. Thank you.
No, where's the box? Okay. Coral Bliss Taylor. How do you feel about factory farming and its effect on the environment?
Thank you. So factory farming is a pretty broad term, and it includes a lot of things. It also includes a lot of efficiencies. When you bring your small farms together, you can produce quite a bit, and that helps us feed ourselves, essentially, and it helps our economy. There was a question earlier about factory farming, and I think it was specifically referring to feedlots kinds of things. And I know that we are having a little bit of an issue with that on the west side of our riding, so going all the way to the other side. And this one is a really tough question, because agriculture is such not just a base to our economy, but also part of our historical culture. It is critically important to us here. And we need to balance not just the environmental and the economic considerations that we have there, but also the ethical ones as well. So this is something that I would think we would need to do a lot more looking into before I would be comfortable. Oh.
Do you believe that GMOs should be labeled in foods? Yes or no? GMO labeling. Thank you. Second question is on the Heritage Trust Fund. Do you believe that we should be dedicating a percentage of our oil revenues to the Heritage Trust Fund? Thank you. The third question in this set relates to languages and the number of languages that you speak. Do you speak any languages beyond English or French? Yes or no? Wow. And for those of you who do speak other languages, could you tell us quickly what they are?
I speak French and English.
Okay.
Punjabi, Hindi, Urdu, it's all kind of the same dialect, so it could go on and on.
I speak some French and Spanish.
And thank you for that. The final question in this set is on the education budget. Do you believe that the parents of students requiring English as a second language service should pay a surcharge as in other programs such as music and outdoor education? So should there be a surcharge for English as a second language? Thank you very much. We'll move to the final set of questions now. I'll call upon Sean to ask the questions, and this time, Ms. Zahir, you will be the first to respond.
Okay, so for all candidates, I guess, How do you expect that education budget cuts will affect special needs children? You have 60 seconds.
We are looking at a 1.9% cut. Yesterday, when I was at the office, I received a call from a young woman who had already been cut. And this was in the workers that are not the frontline workers. These are the people that are actually the support staff. Having a son with special needs, that support staff is absolutely imperative to their ability to learn. Otherwise, our children who are special needs, which is right now 1 in 10 autistic children, are being relegated to the back of classrooms when they have the intelligence and the ability to function in society and become contributing members and tax-paying members of this society. It is of extreme importance to understand how much we need to invest in all of our children, no matter what their background and no matter what their ability or disability. Thank you.
So to answer the question, I do think that education funding cuts are very likely to affect special needs children negatively. And that is a big disappointment, as Ms. Zahir pointed out. We need to make sure that at all levels we are funding education. It's the foundation of everything we do as a society. And within that, everybody has diverse needs. There are some students who need more challenge in the curriculum, and there are some students who need more help. And every single person needs to be able to get the support that they need in their education. Otherwise, what are we doing? Where are we going? It underpins everything we do. And so absolutely, I think that we should be making sure that we have the services in place for the most vulnerable among us.
I believe that all Albertans are compassionate. I have a son who was in high school when cuts occurred. He struggled. I had to pay for his assessment to get some kind of diagnosis, and he struggled because the school wasn't able to really provide it. Now we're seeing educational aids being cut because they're not teachers. And as a result, kids with special needs are going to suffer. I believe we deserve better than that. I believe that we deserve to provide services to those that need them, who are disadvantaged and marginalized because of disabilities and other issues for no reason of their own. I would hate to see a child feel like a failure because we can't provide the services that that child needs. Thank you.
I think I saw one of, thank you for the question. I think I saw one of our trustees here tonight, Ms. Lapierre. I don't know if I saw Ms. Lowe. I would encourage all the candidates to reach out to them so you can find out what has been cut and what hasn't. I don't believe to this point anything has been. The government actually increased the education budget, but here's where it works, folks. We have asked Alberta school boards to find 2.7% in administration or using their reserves to get us through 2 difficult years, to share this responsibility with us and not to let it impact the classroom. And I can assure you that that is what the Alberta government will make sure that happens. We live in the fastest growing constituency, you're one of them, in this province. So I'm going to be a loud voice at that table. You know that, standing up for the people of Rockyview and Chestermere to make sure our kids are protected and well funded. And at the same time, I think we can share the responsibility about looking to be leaner in administration without affecting our kids. I don't think anybody that operates a business would find that unreasonable. And might we work together?
Thank you for the question. Let's be honest, this 2015 budget has failed education miserably. The number's been thrown out before. We're looking at an influx in this constituency of about 1,000 students, new students, 44 teachers required for that, and not a single dime is allocated for them. There you go, thank you. No, it's true. Personally, I think what ends up happening sometimes is that, you know, like Mr. McAllister had said, even though we might be adding a bit of money in terms of, or holding the line on the teacher salary, we cannot expect our teachers and our students to be able to do more with less. We just can't. Support staff is needed. I know from a personal experience, my mom has been working with the Calgary Board of Education for 15, 20 years in a sport role, and we simply cannot undercut education in any capacity. Special needs, regular kids, all the way from kindergarten to university. The investment in education should never, ever be cut. It cannot.
So as you know, my wife and I had our son recently, and the only thing that mattered to us was a healthy child. And in doing so, I can imagine that a parent who has a child who has special needs, they want him to get all the support they can. So I don't believe that we should do anything that would detract from that support that is in our system. That said, the numbers don't lie. There is funding available to our education system. It's just not getting to the front lines as efficiently as it needs to, so that we don't have to cut these support positions, so we don't have to do without more teachers. Again, this goes back to a balanced fiscal policy where we're all in this together. We do have to raise taxes in some manner. We've been living off resource revenue that we don't have anymore because the prices are down. At the same time, we do need our public services to dig a little deeper and get more efficient and get more to the front lines, and that's all we're asking. Thank you.
So, this is directed towards Ms. Leela Ahir. The Wild Rose Party has been perceived as intolerant of diversity to the point at times of extreme social conservatism. What are your views on equal rights regardless of race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, age, mental or physical disability, sexual orientation, or gender identification? 60 seconds.
Well, I'm glad I fulfill some of those borders that are in that question. The Wild Rose Party believes in the rights of all people. In the entire list, all people. We believe in making sure that all people are protected under the legislation and by the Constitution. Thank you.
This is for William Pellick. What do you propose to would make quality childcare attainable for Albertan families?
Well, that's a simple question, and thank you for asking it. The NDP believe, and I believe, that we need to move towards $25 a day daycare in quality childcare centres. That's what we believe in. There have been promises from federal governments and other governments for many years about childcare, and they never really have been delivered. We believe in moving to something that is affordable, as opposed to handing out a few extra dollars to somebody who really then can't afford any kind of childcare. So our position is affordable, available childcare. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. And for the final set of yes/no questions, Family and Community Support Services funding was implemented by Ernest Manning's government in 1966 as a funding source for locally delivered preventative social services. It has continued to be the foundation for vital community social supports ever since. Despite a provincial population increase of over 500,000 in the past 8 years, there has been no increase in family and community support services funding. If you are elected, will you advocate for an increase in preventative social service funding? Thank you. The final set of questions relates to the issues of floor crossing. Have you ever, or would you ever, consider crossing the floor to join a different political party than you were elected into in the midst of your term? Thank you. And I guess the last question is if you have ever or would ever consider crossing the floor, do you indicate if you would consult your constituents before making such a decision? Thank you. Let me say thank you to the candidates for their cooperation in keeping within the time limits tonight, for the polite way in which they've interacted with each other. We thank the audience for the polite receptions and the interest that you've given to the candidates. Thank you to the students for asking questions. We're now, yes, please. We're now moving to the point at which each of the candidates will be given 90 seconds to deliver a concluding statement, and the order in which they will speak is going to be drawn now. So the first speaker will be Dr. William Pellick. 90 seconds, sir. What's the question now? It's your closing statement.
Oh, closing statement, okay, thank you. I wanted to get a chance to say why I'm running. When I came to this province was led by, as I said, one of the best leaders this country's ever seen, an elegant, committed, dedicated, and progressive, forward-thinking premier. I wanted to become active in politics, but raising 2 kids, teaching at the university, trying to make ends meet, that was really tough. I was really challenged and inspired to do so in 2001 when our premier walked into a homeless shelter and insulted the broken and the hopeless in that shelter, but I couldn't at the time. Today, we've been told to look in the mirror when we're looking at who is to blame for the problems this province is facing. So I want to leave this message before I go. And basically, I'm tired of the victims being blamed in this province. I want to look to the future where all Albertans enjoy the wealth, the prosperity, and the opportunities that so many enjoy. Thank you.
Next, I'll call on Bruce McAllister.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute honor to serve you for the last 3 years. I think we win the lottery when we live in the great province of Alberta. I think we should spend more time talking about all the things that are great about this province. Yes, we have some pressure points, and we're going to identify them. But if people in this country choose to set up shop, where do they come? They come to the great land that is Alberta. And we have had a lot of good government over the years, and there's no question we've had some pressure points also. But we work on those together. What we do as common sense conservatives is we roll up our sleeves and we say, how do we get better government for the people of this province, and how do we do it together? You see, we need a reasonable, cerebral, thoughtful way forward that protects frontline services, that gets us off the roller coaster ride of oil revenue. That's where we're heading. On the local level, I mentioned it earlier, this is a giant riding, and I am thrilled to represent each and every part of it. Every issue, I've returned every phone call and email, and I do that because my heart is in public service. I'm trying to affect positive change. At the end of the day, it's not about partisanship. At the end of the day, this is about a good path forward, the best path forward for the province of Alberta. It's on us to look at what's presented before us. It's not about reciting our resumes and telling you what boards we sat on or all of those things. It's about what is the best path forward and how we.
I just want to start by saying I've had some paddle issues tonight, so I'm sorry. I just need to say I'm for McLean Creek. I think I did that one wrong, so just to clear that one up. It's an important one, so sorry about that. I believe you deserve better. You deserve better than a decade of deficits, and you deserve better than cuts to frontline services like healthcare and education. All Albertans deserve better than a PC government that is unable and unwilling to take the steps needed to solve our problems. When the PC government needed to make tough decisions, they raised your taxes 59 times. This will cost Albertans an extra $2,500 each year. The Wild Rose Plan is clear. We will not raise your taxes, and we will balance the budget. Put patients and seniors first in the healthcare system, make our schools better for your kids and our kids, and restore transparency and accountability in the government. How? We end cronyism and corruption of the PC government. Thank you. Thank you. And we trim the bloated bureaucracy. The money is there. But how do we do this? We stop Jim Prentice, and we must stop this PC party. The choice is easy. Do you want more of the PC insiders making backroom deals to protect their friends? The PC mismanaged Alberta oil when it was at $100 a barrel, and they simply cannot be trusted to do the right thing now that we are at $50 a barrel. The choice is clear. The Wild Rose
Coral Bliss-Taylor.
Thank you. Ultimately, the question is, what do we want to build together? And where do we want to grow from here? If you want to be a part of that conversation, if you believe that we all have something of value to add, if you think that Alberta deserves a sustainable future, that we can reasonably talk about the environment, that we deserve an economy that we can consistently rely on, and if you believe that public consultation will produce a growth plan that reflects all of our values, then I am here for you. I invite you to consider what you want for you, for Chestermere Rocky-View, and for all of Alberta, because if elected, that is what I will ask you. Ultimately, history will remember us, and I don't want to be remembered as somebody who said, "What's in it for me?" or "Why should I care?" I want to be remembered as part of a group of people that saw the writing on the wall, saw that we had a job to get done, and just stepped up and got it done. Thank you all.
So I'm here first and foremost because this community has been disrespected. Last December, the political will of the community was stolen from us by Bruce McAllister, and that's not okay. And, you know, this community is in the papers nowadays for a lot of reasons, a lot of the wrong reasons. You know, this isn't just where I grew up or my family lives. You know, this is my home, and we should have an option here where we don't go in for the partisan politics, the backroom fighting, bribery, scandal. You know, that doesn't serve us at all. You know, there's $100,000 worth of campaign signs on the roads right now. Imagine the effect that could have on the community. You know, we could have indoor soccer stadium and stuff like that. You know, political parties are taking tens of millions of dollars out of taxpayers' wallets every year just to fund their cronyism and other things. If you're going to vote for people up here, vote because they're genuinely good people, because they want to make a difference. Don't vote for them just because they belong to party X or party Y, okay? That's all I'm asking for you, is to understand that you have options and you have a choice, and that's all I'm hoping to present. Thank you.
And as there's one candidate left, I won't bother to draw the name, Mr. Law.
Thank you. I want to first and foremost thank all of you for attending today. I want to thank the Yell organization, and I want to congratulate my fellow candidates for great campaigns run thus far. We're at the stretch run here, so I think all of us are feeling. Let's close this out. For me, people have always asked at the doors through call-outs, why are you running? And it's no secret what has happened over the last couple months. I was involved in a nomination, and I was told to step down. I was told to leave it alone. I was told to drop out, and I said no. Push came to shove. I was eventually disallowed, and I was told to leave it alone, drop out, and go away, and I didn't. Announced my run as an independent, and even then, I was told there's no point running as an independent, drop out, leave it alone, and go away pretty much. And over the last 48 hours, obviously, the ultimate, bombshell was dropped on myself and my family. And I was told through the media to drop out and to leave it alone, but I'm not going to do that. And then why am I running? I'm running for you people. Every single person here, win, lose, or draw, I'm not going to go away. I've never been good at giving up, and I'm not going to do that now. So I will ask this much, though. Thank you.
Thank you to the candidates. Thank you to the audience tonight. I remind you that the candidates will be available at their tables around the perimeter of the room afterwards if you have specific questions. I'd like to thank the sponsors, the Chestermere Regional Community Association, the Waiting Room Cafe, and the Chestermere Anchor newspaper for making this evening possible. Thank Yell for all of the work that they have done. One of the goals of Yell is to promote youth engagement and also to promote informed voting. And I hope you will agree with me that the candidates have certainly contributed to allowing the people of Chestermere Rocky View to making more informed voting decisions as a result of what they've had to say tonight.